One of the things that was suggested during the first presidential debate by Donald Trump was that Trump suggested his supporters go to the polls and observe what's going on, hang out at polling places, see if things look okay. Now, as I mentioned, there are poll workers and there are poll volunteers. You can't just show up and volunteer on the day of. You have to actually sign up to do that. If you just show up and you're, quote, observing and you're essentially loitering, in some states that's against the law and it's voter intimidation. And Nevada's attorney general is not taking this lightly and has said, if you do what Trump is suggesting, we will arrest you and we will prosecute you because it is in Nevada illegal. Let's start with a reminder about what Donald Trump said about this Tuesday night at the debate.
What it is. So first for you, sir, finally for the vice president, I hope neither of you will interrupt the other. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm during this extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest? And will you pledge tonight that you will not declare victory until the election has been independently certified? President Trump, you go first.
I'm urging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it. As you know, today there was a big problem. In Philadelphia, they went in to watch. They're called poll watchers, a very safe, very nice thing. They were thrown out. They weren't allowed to watch. You know why? Because bad things happen in Philadelphia, bad things.
So the reason Trump's poll watchers were thrown out is that they weren't actually poll watchers. There's a process. If you want to be a volunteer, you have to actually sign up. Typically, it's run at the county level, but you'd have to see how it is in your city, state, or municipality. You don't just show up armed as someone who is there to observe the way Donald Trump is suggesting. It's not going to do. It's voter intimidation to hang out all day at polls without being an actual volunteer who signed up and is on a list of someone who's going to be there to do that. And Trump is encouraging that. Trump is encouraging voter intimidation, and it shouldn't surprise us. Trump encouraged try to vote twice. That's a felony in some places, including North Carolina. Trump has encouraged all sorts of behavior that is either immoral or illegal in some cases. And Nevada's attorney general says, we will prosecute people who do this. If you do this, we will prosecute you. If you follow Donald Trump's advice and you go to polling places and you monitor votes being cast or counted, it is voter intimidation. Aaron Ford tweeted, quote, Trump also told his supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully. But he wasn't talking about poll watching. He was talking about voter intimidation. For your information, voter intimidation is illegal in Nevada. Believe me when I say it. You do it and you will be prosecuted. Now, to follow up on Trump's claim that some injustice has transpired because his fans who showed up in Philly weren't allowed in, we looked into it. Legitimate poll officers and volunteers in Philadelphia have been able to do their jobs. But you have to actually be there in an official capacity. Random people who show up and say, I'm going to watch, aren't actually part of anything. They can't hang out intimidating people. That's not, I was going to say, it's not how our democracy works. It's not how our democracy is supposed to work. Now, for you, what to do if you see funny business when you go to vote? 3 things to keep in mind. Number 1, you can report voter intimidation to the ACLU by calling 866-OUR-VOTE. Put it in your phone. Number 2, you can report voter intimidation or electioneering or whatever to the local county elections board. Again, most elections are run at the county level. That's why we get results county by county, often on election night. Google the phone number for your county elections board. Put it in your phone before you go. If you can safely and legally get video of what's going on, send it to me. I will do everything I can to send it to my media contacts and to publicize it on this program. This applies to early voting. This applies on Election Day. We will be standing by on Election Day to hear from you if funny business is going on. It's also important for people to know what is and is not permitted in their jurisdiction. So there's a brief summary of poll watcher laws available We're linking to a website that has that summary in the description to this YouTube clip. So you've got it, or you can just Google poll watcher laws Massachusetts, poll watcher laws Louisiana, or whatever state you live in. So like as an example, in New York, each party can have 3 poll watchers present, and the poll watchers can challenge your right to vote when you appear at the polling place, but it would not override any anti-discrimination laws. If they're challenging every black voter or disproportionately black voters, that wouldn't be okay. You know, enforcing it in the heat of election day is another question. It also never permits harassment, intimidation, coercion, electioneering, trying to either prevent someone from voting or influencing vote. So that's New York. Understand the laws in your state. And yeah, it's tragic that this is how we have to prepare to go and vote. My plan for now is I do have an absentee ballot coming. And if it gets to me reasonably soon, I don't know when Massachusetts is sending them out, I would fill it out and drop it off personally. Otherwise, I might avail myself of the early voting that takes place in Massachusetts. That's my thought. Let me know your plan. I'm on Twitter at @dpakman. And remember that if you prefer a long form audio podcast each day rather than short YouTube clips or Facebook video clips, you can find our audio podcast just about on any podcast platform: iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, so on and so forth. Find us there. Let me know your voting plan on Twitter at @dpakman, and we will be right back. If you've been watching the show, you've probably heard me talk about how much I love my Helix mattress. Well, I was really excited to hear that Helix has launched a new company called Allform, which makes premium, customizable sofas and chairs with the same level of quality and comfort that I expect from these guys. And Allform is one of our sponsors today. They're giving you 20% off at allform.com/Pakman. They actually sent me a couch, which I put in my living room at home. It's now my favorite piece of furniture in the house. It took me just minutes to set it up. It's solidly built. It's huge. It's roomy. It has a modern, minimalist design, which I love, but it's also very comfortable. Fabric is soft, clearly very high quality. It has become the focal point of my living room. Their prices are very reasonable. And when you get a new sofa or chair, you get 100 days to decide if you want to keep it. And the best part is everything comes with a lifetime warranty. Stop buying poorly made furniture. Go to customize your own Allform sofa or chair right now and get 20% off your entire order when you get there by going to allform.com/Pakman. I've also put the link right underneath this video.